Hi everyone, I do apologize for missing class and being unable to give my presentation. I had the stomach flu for 3 days and I haven't been that sick in a long time, and I discovered that I'm a big baby and I'd rather give 100 presentations than have the flu. I've been thinking about this presentation all semester, and after every chapter I would think about whether that particular theory or theorist fit me. And there were things I took away from every chapter that I liked and thought I would use. Like several people who have presented before me, I wanted to integrate many different approaches and interventions. However, towards the end of the textbook, I finally decided on one theory that really fit me. I'm going to tell you just a little bit about myself because I'm kind of out of the cohort and the sequence. I just feel like I should tell you who I am so you kind of get my values. But anyway, I'm 44 years old and I'm the oldest of 2 children. My sister is only 10.5 months younger than me, and so we're the same age for a while each year, which makes things interesting when you're growing up and confusing for some people. I have 2 children and I am divorced. I have an 18-year-old daughter who is a freshman at UND and a son who is a sophomore in high school and just turned 16. They have kept me completely busy, which I enjoy. Their dad does live in Texas, so some days really fly by with lots to do, and I've just decided to be a night owl and get all of my own things done a little after hours. I have been amazed at how much extra time I have with one child in college, and I must admit that even though some days I wish that we could reverse time, most days I'm very excited about what the future holds for myself and my kids. And I definitely have enjoyed an earlier bedtime this year. I graduated from NDSU with a degree in psychology and then moved to Texas. I worked at a state hospital for 2 years, and during that time I took additional classes and became certified as a special ed teacher. I worked in a self-contained classroom for 10 years in a school of about 2,500 high school students, and I absolutely loved that job. Prior to this year, I would have gone back to that job in a heartbeat. While working as a teacher, I got my master's degree in education, and then I worked as an educational diagnostician, which is similar to a school psychologist. I did lots of testing with kids to determine placement and was the vocational and behavior specialist. In 2005, I moved back to North Dakota and found out the state would not allow me to teach, and I couldn't be certified. So at that time, I opted to work at PSYC as the advisor coordinator. Eventually, commuting from Hazen to Bismarck became too hard for my family, so I took a job at the high school as the superintendent's secretary. And he hoped that the law would change and that out-of-state certification would have to be accepted, which it now has. So this summer I took 4 praxis tests and it was worth it. I can now teach again. Also this summer a school counselor position became vacant in Hazen, and so the state has given me emergency certification while I take courses. I do lots of walking. I like to read and volunteer, too much in fact. I have a hard time saying no, which is something I'm working on. I do have a very good sense of humor. I love to laugh and have fun. I have lots of friends and 2 or 3 very strong relationships. My family and extended family are very important to me, and I think that I am a person of strong morals and I really try hard to do the right thing. So when I think about my beliefs and my life philosophy, the first thing that comes to mind is that family and friends are very important to me. Having meaningful relationships with them is a big priority. I have always loved to learn, and personal growth is important to me. I think we should always be learning, questioning, and trying to better ourselves. As I said, volunteering and service are big parts of my life. I think that everyone should experience these things at least a little bit. Making a difference in your community is very important in our society, and I think that people should contribute to making things better for others. I am a fun lover and can find something to laugh about in almost every situation. I am also a very serious person, and I value doing things the right way. But I do think that we should look for humor in our everyday lives so that we don't drive ourselves crazy and have a little bit of balance. Commitment and honesty are important values for me, and I guess with that goes trustworthiness. Following through with promises and doing what you say you'll do mean a great deal to me. Being true to yourself and the people we encounter in relationships or just in everyday life is an important concept for me. I hold people with integrity in very high regard, even if they have to tell me something disappointing or something I don't want to hear. Overall, the responsibility to be the kind of person we want to be lies within us and the choices that we make. I am very independent, and one of my faults would be that I don't often ask for help, which doesn't make a lot of sense because I do bend over backwards to help others. So I'm also working on asking for help when I need it. And finally, I believe everyone should try to be a better listener. So many difficulties can be avoided when we take turns and we listen to what other people are saying. I want people to feel good, and until someone hears our thoughts and opinions and we know that they are really listening, it's hard to have relationships that are meaningful. So this next slide is just a conglomeration of quotes that I think are pertinent to my values and my life philosophy, and I'll give you just a second to look at that. Okay, I'm not going to read this to you, but you can look at it on your own. Initially, because I was having a hard time selecting a theory, I did a few values assessments and questionnaires, thinking that I might discover something about myself that I didn't know, or something that could help me. And I guess what I found out is that those questionnaires and assessments reaffirmed what I was thinking about myself and about my philosophy. It made me remember that it's good to acknowledge our own strengths and what we bring to a relationship or what we bring to the table. My results were very congruent to the values I had listed before taking any kind of assessment. And so the common themes were fun, relationships, making a difference to others, being dependable, being capable, growth, hearing the opinions of others. And so with that said, I decided, because I am kind of think that the helping profession is so important and really do value helping people, that my theme song would be Lean on Me. I was going to play that for you, but I think if I do, my presentation might be too long. So I'm just gonna leave it at that, and if you ever get the chance to listen to Lean on Me, that's my song, I guess. So in thinking about myself and how I try to live my life and what is important to me, it became glaringly obvious that the theory I must align myself to is choice theory, reality therapy, and William Glasser. Reality therapy focuses on relationships and making choices that make you happy. William Glasser says in one of his website videos that a basic principle of reality therapy and choice theory is live and let live. A person should not be concerned with others' choices, their beliefs, and actions. Only be concerned with your own choices and the actions you choose to make. We all choose what we do and can only choose for ourselves. The claim is made that external control ruins people and relationships, which I agree with wholeheartedly. Individuals have only the ability to change themselves. In reality therapy, when people learn to get along better and have connected relationships, their problems are alleviated. When a person is using choice theory, negotiating with others or blaming others are not issues, because the responsibility lies within the person or the student to make choices for themselves. The ability to change our lives, our direction, and our future are up to us as individuals. Also, choice theory and reality therapy rely on adults to teach children how to be good decision makers. while living in supportive and fun environments. We do not have to control children and the decisions they make. We can guide them, surround them with love, and let them experience the natural consequences of the decisions they make. As adults, we need to foster children's belief in themselves and the positive whisper they hear while making decisions. We need to be the positive whisper they hear while making decisions. Also, another congruent thought that goes with reality therapy is, in life we have a choice in everything we do. And as the saying goes, and I don't know where it originated, we make our choices, and then our choices make us. The quality of our lives definitely depends on the decisions we make, as we make choices that either help or harm us. I also like choice theory because it doesn't rely so heavily on the past. It kind of provides a positive hope that we are not the victims of our past, and we don't have to repeat the same destructive decisions. An important concept in reality therapy is that all humans have 5 basic needs. These are universal needs, but each individual has their own wants and desires, and they work to have their needs met. Emotions aren't addressed directly in reality therapy, but having purposeful behaviors that change our thoughts about our wants and needs are a focus. The strengths of these 5 basic needs give us different personalities. This is a graphic I found that represents the 5 basic needs. The first need is survival. This includes the things we want, the things we need to survive, including safety, health, food, security, and physical comfort. The second need is belonging, the need for love. We need to feel connected, have contact with others, interact, and have relationships. Even people who describe themselves as loners need relationships with others, or they spiral into poor mental health. The third need is fun and enjoyment. We all need to feel pleasure, experience fun, and appreciate good times. Fourth is the need for freedom and independence. Everyone needs the ability to make their own choices without excessive limits. And last, we have the need for power and achievement. This is not power over other people or achievement at the expense of others. This is a sense of self-esteem, knowing that we can learn, grow, change, and that we have control over our own lives. There are a few interventions that I think are especially important in reality therapy. One is the concept of quality worlds. Initially, when we discussed quality worlds in class, I thought the concept seemed weird. I'm not sure why I wasn't quite getting it, because it is really simple. And after reviewing the Glasser website, I couldn't believe what an easy and powerful intervention it is. With quality worlds, we think about the things we want in life and create a mental image of those wants in our mind. It's like saying, imagine this, or picture this. And when we carry a picture of what we want our world to be like, it's much easier to make choices and decisions that suit and are congruent with our life picture. We can ask students such things as, what do you want? What vision do you have for your life? What ideas and beliefs do you value? In this particular situation, what would you like to happen? Making decisions becomes much easier for students when they think about their ultimate goals and imagine how they want things to be. Because reality therapy and choice theory are about making decisions, choosing our path, and learning to help ourselves, it is critical to know how to be a problem solver or to make decisions. And as school counselors, we need to help students formulate realistic plans. Decision making is something that many students don't know how to do effectively. Sometimes a lot of students just approach it as guesswork, or I'm just going to see what happens. They don't even consider it to be a process in which they weigh solutions or consequences. Therefore, I think that teaching students how to make choices or problem solve is a skill that must be taught and reviewed. Having posters, graphics, and reminders is a great way to keep this process in their minds. The first step to problem solving is to identify and define a problem. Kind of think about what is your ultimate goal, and then gather information. So think about the details, think about what has happened in the past or any problems that you've encountered, what you would like to do, and then list all solutions of the problem or the decision that you have to make. And you should brainstorm good and bad ideas. So if our problem or the decision to be made is how to get along better with our sister, some of the solutions would be that when we encounter a fight, we could punch them in the face, we can talk to our parent, we can walk away without getting into an argument. So you should brainstorm all of the good and bad ideas. Then you should think of all positive and negative consequences to each solution. So if you punch your sister in the face, you may get grounded, you may lose their respect, you may feel bad about yourself. The list could go on and on. And then choose a solution. Pick which idea works best for you. Form a plan. Think of who, what, when, and where. And maybe even write a list of instructions for yourself. Then monitor the results. Pay attention to what you did, what happened, and possibly write those things down also. You should choose a time to evaluate your solution, your choice, or your decision. This can be in 2 hours, 2 days, 2 weeks, whatever works for you. And when you evaluate, you should decide if you need to start over. If you didn't get the results that you wanted, or you are not happy with the consequences, then you could redefine your problem, start over, think of new solutions, things like that, until you get the result that you like and are happy. This is just a short video on problem solving. It's abbreviated problem solving, so I'll let you watch that. Okay, so what I like most about reality therapy and choice theory is that students have personal power. Each of us can choose everything we do. We can only choose for ourselves, not others. The only person whose behavior we can control is our own. You can learn to help yourself and others. Taking responsibility for your actions is the main focus and priority. You don't blame others, and you are persistent and don't give up. So I really like all of those concepts about choice theory and reality therapy, because I think that it is important for students to know that they have personal power and can make their own decisions. good or bad. These are some slides that I like. Choice. Today I choose to live by choice, not by chance. To make changes, not excuses. To be motivated, not manipulated. To be useful, not used. To excel, not compete. To choose self-esteem, not self-pity. I choose to listen to the inner voice, not to random opinion of others. And then life is all about making choices. Always do your best to make the right ones, and always do your best to learn from the wrong one. That kind of goes back to problem solving. At any given moment, you have the power to say, this is not how the story is going to end. I cannot change you, but I can change how I react to you. I choose to take charge of the rest of my life. That cut off, so I apologize for that. And life is all about choices. Here's just well, I guess I might be running out of time. You can go back and watch this video. It is of Ellen DeGeneres talking about making choices and all the choices we have to make in life, and it's just really funny and lighthearted, so I enjoyed that. And then lastly, just remember to be an inspiration. Don't forget to send positive messages to students so that they grow to be competent, hardworking kids who feel empowered enough to make decisions, to make mistakes, and to keep persevering. Thank you. Even though it's kind of simplistic, I think it does work with all kids just to kind of get the process in their minds and get them thinking about what they need to do. My gosh. Growing up and a bit confusing for some people. I have 2 children and I am divorced. I have an 18-year-old daughter who is a freshman at UND and a son who is a sophomore in high school and just turned 16. They have kept me super busy, which I completely enjoy. Their dad lives in Texas, so some days really fly by with lots to do. I've just decided to be a night owl and get a lot of my own things done a little after hours. I've been amazed at how much extra time I have with one child being in college. I know most of you are younger parents, and the thought of having time for yourself seems unimaginable, but what they say is true. Time flies, and before you know it, 18 years has passed and you can't believe your babies are gone. I have to admit, though, that although some days I wish I could reverse time, most days I'm very excited about what the future holds for myself and my kids. And I have enjoyed an earlier bedtime this year, for sure. I graduated from NDSU with a degree in psychology. I then moved to Texas and worked at a state hospital for a few years. During that time, I took an additional class and became certified as a special ed teacher. I worked in a self-contained classroom for 10 years in high school with about 2,500 students, and I absolutely loved this job. Prior to this school year, I would have gone back to that teaching job in a heartbeat. While working as a teacher, I got a master's degree in education and then worked as an educational diagnostician, which is similar to a school psychologist. I did lots of testing with kids to determine placement and was the vocational and behavior specialist. In 2005, I moved back to North Dakota and found out that the state would not allow me to teach without repeating my student teaching and taking most of my coursework. So at that time, I opted to work at PSYC as the advisor coordinator. Eventually, commuting from Hazen to Bismarck became too hard for my family, so I took a job at the school as the superintendent's secretary. He hoped that the state law would be changing and that out-of-state teaching certification would have to be accepted, which it now has.